Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Happy holidays. We are back for the Scandalous Scandal Recap, Season 4, Episode 8, The Last Supper. For our favorite show that we love to recap and predict and critique and talk about and everything else in between. This is the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I'm Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. All I was going to say is that I'm married.
For the record, everyone, LBJ just applauded himself. I need you to know that. I did not do that. So, just for the record.
Hilarious. I'm Larry, and I'm joined by Janiyah, who literally just came running off of the streets of New York into the studio for tonight's broadcast. We thank you all for bearing with us. We thank you all for even delaying, conversing, and convening about this episode of Scandal at this late date. Thank you so much. We
Thank
went
you.
on our anniversary trip. Janiyah, thank you for bearing with it and taking the big Twitter beat up for us not having the Scandal recap while I was out of the country. I will tell you, like, if we had the access to be able to, I could get on Wi-Fi, but if I had the access to watch and then recap, I totally would do that. But the access wasn't there. So here we are today. How are you? I've missed you.
I'm good, LBJ, and I'm so happy to see you. But I do want to let you know that we, the public, do not forgive you for being on a holiday for 2 weeks and forcing us to be so late in recapping this show. So I don't want you. I don't want you to feel like we're supportive of any of that. So I just really want to clarify, just for the record. And you're right, I did get a little bit of a beat up. People were pretty frustrated, and all I could say was, we're working on it as soon as LBJ gets back. Anyway, so LBJ, how was your vacation? And all kidding aside, everyone, LBJ and his wife, literally one of the best couples I know. I'm always happy to celebrate your love. How was the vacation?
Thanks so much tonight. Our vacation was great. They call me Chocolate Brown right about now because of my tan that I got. But we had a great time. We went away to Riviera Maya, Mexico, and just enjoyed each other and love and celebrated our third wedding anniversary, which was last Tuesday. So we had a great time, and here we are back in the States working hard so we can pay for another vacation and keep doing what we do.
Yeah, welcome back, LBJ.
Thank you so much, and welcome back to this Scandal Recap. Let me tell you, the juice was thick on Twitter and on Facebook, on every piece of social media, and we purposely were avoiding it as we were just scrolling through reading the news, sitting on the beach and reading books and whatnot. And I'll tell you, we literally got off the airplane Sunday night, and we literally ran. We came home. I walked to get dinner in our neighborhood, brought dinner back to the house, and we literally like scarfed our dinner down, ran up to the bedroom and sat there like in our bed under the covers and like, what? It was crazy. The Last Supper. I did not know what to anticipate for this episode of Scandal. And as the episode began to progress, I saw exactly where this was going. Did I know that it was, well, let me not even jump ahead, but let's just start. Let's go ahead and just jump into the relationships and some of the things that we saw in this episode. Let's start with the whole Olivia, Fitz, and Jake thing. Like, they're in the bunker trying to decide what's going on. Well, first of all, we're trying to resolve the conflict between Fitz and Jake. How was that for brotherly love at the end of that?
Oh my gosh, LBJ. Let me just say, love ain't have nothing to do with it. Okay? I just imagine LBJ, Olivia, in these moments where the love of her life, who's married to someone else, and this boyfriend, whenever she's in the same room with the two of them, I just can only imagine what she is thinking. And in those moments, my heart goes out to Jake. The entire time we're in those kinds of moments, I'm thinking about Jake. I'm thinking about, out of all of the people in that little trio, he is the one making the biggest sacrifice. He's the one making the largest concession. He is literally investing and investing, knowing he will get nothing in return, whereas Olivia is at least getting her short-term needs met, and Fitz gets to have the fantasy of the hope that he loves so much. Anyway, so LBJ, that dynamic to me, brotherly, nothing to do with it.
I totally thought it was brotherly though, in the fact in the moment where Fitz comes to Jake and he's like, how's this for making up? He dapped him up, he shook his hand, and they made it good. That's why I thought it could have been brotherly. That's the only reason I said that.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And it was a little frat brotherly too. I mean, because come on, they were tagging the same girl. I mean, what frat? Olivia's like in the frat house of the Pentagon and the White House.
Yes,
B613 and POTUSing. I mean, like, come on,
yeah.
brothers too.
Yeah, seriously. You're totally right, LBJ. But what did you think about the exchange, that conversation, Jake and Fitz and Olivia planning to do what? Try to take down Olivia's dad.
Oh man, that entire plan to try to take down Olivia's dad was serious. First of all, the fact that you can have this conversation in front of bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, took some cojones grandes. Okay, like you really had to have some kind of, you had to have some kind of gall, the audacity to stand up in front of this man's daughter and have this conversation. Yes, she gave you the permission to do this, and she said, she kind of came up with the entire idea. But I think that it's important to look at this entire thing and say these men were committed to taking this woman's father down without any reservation. And when I say without reservation, I mean without reservation. Standing in the light, standing in the dark, standing in the sun, whatever they were going to do, they were going to take this man down by any means necessary. Shout out to Ferguson, by any means necessary. I'm sorry, I just threw that in there. But yeah, like that's what I felt in that moment. Do you have anything that differs?
You know what, LBJ? I think you're right. I will say this, that, Jake was the one out of the three of them that kind of puts a little reality check in place. He was the one that said, hey guys, going against Rowan, suicide. I think he was the one to kind of say, you know what, let's not forget the stakes here. Let's proceed with caution. And so I think Fitz and Olivia may have been a little bit, trying to, they were so passionate about the cause that they may have just been a little too aggressive. And Jake was the one that said, hey, let's dial this back and realize that we are working with here the actual leader of the free world, Command. Check it before you wreck it, right? I mean, exactly. he dialed them back a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dan Blakemore kind of sums up that moment in the Q&A. Reminder, everybody, the Q&A is open. You can type your questions, comments, whatever you want to type in there in the Q&A while we're live chatting. And if you like something in the conversation, click the thumbs up button or the thumbs down button if you dislike it. But Dan Blakemore says in the Q&A, Fitz and that hope. Hashtag strung out without the nectar. Fitz's well has dried up, and he really tried. He tried to dip back into the well of nectar, Dan, when Olivia and Fitz were making their exit out of the bunker, and he kind of walks over to her, and he's like, kiss me. No. She's like, quiver, 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 no, quiver, quiver. And he's like, kiss me. And she's like, no, and then they kiss, and they had that little moment. It's like she didn't quite feel it like she used to feel it, but she kind of felt it, but he felt it for sure. And then she's like, don't go out this way. He's like, it's a bunker. Like, it's only one way in and one way out, crazy girl. And that's what I think.
You know what, LBJ? I want to talk about that kiss for a second, right? Because what we learned in this episode and in the one prior is that Olivia is fully aware of the cards that she holds, right? In this episode, she called herself the shiny little object, that would draw her father. She also, in a prior episode, in talking with, Rowan, reminded him that, hey, she holds some cards with Jake and Fitz that he will never be able to hold. I can't remember her exact, wording, but she kind of said, oh, I've got some weapons you don't have, father. Believe that. Yeah. And so, LBJ, I couldn't help but wonder if that kiss was manipulation. She's there in that bunker hallway, Jake at the forefront of her mind. She pauses and hesitates, and Fitz is sitting there, hope in his eyes. We know for sure that she's leveraging that hope. She even put the whole language out there about the hope, so that she could leverage Fitz to help Jake. Yes. Right. So anyway, I'm sure she was to some degree overcome in the moment, but I also think that Olivia, in that moment of pause before kissing Fitz, did a little calculation. What do I need to do here? Which of my assets do I need to leverage How much nectar do I have banked up to make sure that I can continue to work this situation in the way that I need? So I'm sure she was swept away. But I think she's always planning now as it relates to these men.
I'll tell you, it's like the nectar has been harvested, or Olivia is trying to plant seeds of nectar and harvest the nectar because she's been squeezing nectar everywhere. I just don't mean in the bedroom and among the men, but her nectar was needed with what's her name, Miss North. Oh goodness, her first name is
Elizabeth.
yes, Elizabeth North. Like
Mhm.
Elizabeth North comes to Olivia seeking
Mhm.
help to figure out what's going on with her phone. Oh, my phone's been hacked. I don't know what's going on with my phone. It started moving all over the place. I don't know what happened. Can you help me, Olivia? And then she seeks her help, and we learn that Olivia, in turn, takes Elizabeth North as her client in this moment, but she also has to do a little double agent work with the whole Olivia North, aka Lizzie Bear, with the help that she requests. Remember, they do call her Lizzie
Yeah,
Bear,
they do. They do.
and she told her Liv tells her Lizzie Bear that she doesn't like her, but she'll take her case. And Liv and Quinn and Huck go over the case and the stats on Lizzie Bear as they take her on. And while they're taking this on, we get to our first moment of a Scandal Jam session in the show as well, which was Donna Summer's Bad Girl when they
Yes.
started doing all the work going into that. I thought that was a great scene. It was classic Scandal with the work board and all the facts and everything. It was a great Scandal scene.
It was LBJ. And you know what? I have to tell you, Elizabeth North coming into the mix, frankly, we all know we can't trust her, you know. And so the way the episode played out, it seemed that she really was legitimately coming to Olivia and team for assistance. But I will just say, initially, when she engaged Olivia, I had a huge question mark. I thought, oh my gosh, Olivia, proceed with caution. We cannot trust this woman. I thought Elizabeth North was working an angle. And the truth is, who knows? She may still have been, we may see it play out later. But anyway, I was surprised to see her have an actual case, and to actually watch Olivia engage with Liz DeGeneres as a actual client. But LBJ, what do you think about the fact? So as the episode continues on, we realize that Elizabeth North, guess what? You're correct. Your phone is being tapped. And who's tapping your phone? It's Cyrus, right? Because we
Yes.
recall from a prior episode that the jig was up. Cyrus was on to Elizabeth North and her little scam with Michael the prostitute, right? And so he's
Mhm.
now tapped her phone to try to figure out what insight she has. And so Elizabeth North's concerns were validated. And then Olivia's there in this very uncomfortable situation where she has her friend Cyrus right now and then her client on the other hand. LBJ, did you think that she was going to go ahead and, really, basically go against her client relationship?
I did. Her loyalty is to Cyrus, and Cyrus is
Mm.
connected to so many different things that Olivia's connected to. They've got lots of history, and that history will override any relationship unless it's like Fitz and maybe her mom and dad. We don't know what happens in a future episode. We can only predict that. Because we're not talking about the episode yet, but I think that yeah, totally. Olivia's loyalty is with Cyrus in that situation, and she also knows that Cyrus is directly connected to the president, and they've got to have success for that entire term. So, yes, Cyrus will trump Lizzie Bear in that regard. But I think that we should look at, speaking of Cyrus, though, look at the way Cyrus came to his girl, Olivia, for
Mm-hmm.
help. She had to take him on as a client, and I mean, we saw such a humble Cyrus, a humiliated Cyrus come to Olivia. We saw a downgraded Cyrus come to Olivia. We saw a downtrodden Cyrus come to Olivia.
Yes, he was downtrodden.
Who would have thought that we'd ever see a Cyrus like that come to Olivia like, hey, this is what I did. This is what's coming out. They've got these photos, and I think I need to call it quits. OMG, Cyrus.
You know what? I will say this. It's so interesting, LBJ, because Cyrus as he sat there, just oh my gosh, just so overwhelmed with, the fact that, they got me. They got me. I've fallen for a trick that I played, in prior circumstances. Even as he sat there, LBJ, I couldn't help but take notes about the hypocrisy, in his whole reflective moment. So I couldn't even really get swept away in the oh poor Cyrus, because all I could think was, as he was talking about, and I wrote down the quote, he said, as he was there again, oh, I'm just now so, I can't believe this has panned out. He said, I've compromised my integrity, my family, my president.
Yes.
For what? Cyrus, you pretty much compromise everybody on that list pretty much every episode. So, you're now having this moment because the jig will be up in public. But don't act like you now have some brand new moral compass. So anyway, LBJ, I have to tell you, I don't have a lot of pity for Cyrus. It was another moment where I felt like he was not, having a sincere reflection.
Wait, did everyone just peep out tonight? Just gave us the neck work with the pencil. Don't act like. Don't act like.
I want to tell everybody this pencil is as high tech as I'm going to get tonight. I'm actually logging into the chat with a laptop from 1901. So I'm not going to, there'll be no special effects from Janiyah tonight. My other laptop is doing an upgrade, and so I couldn't get logged into it. Anyway, so this is my technology for this evening. So
yeah, but the whole Cyrus bit, Janiyah, like you're right. It was complete hypocrisy, but it also shows that Cyrus, you are demented. Like the fact that you can connect in a way that you act like you don't have a dark side. You act like you're just completely honest and above board. There's no blood on your hands, Cyrus. Come on, man, do better. You got to rise above. You got to. And I felt that he could do that with Olivia because that's where he felt safest, and that's how he could let out his demons, but also show his he can show his dark and he can show his dark and his light side and everything that he was doing. And I think that also it showed that he still has trust for Olivia. Remember, they're the help. According to Olivia's mom, they are the help, baby. You're the help. And remember she said that she did.
She did.
She said, "Livy, baby, you're the help." She told her, and it was something that.
Can you do that impression for us one more time? Because you really do it so well. Can you give us Mama Pope one more time, LBJ?
Mama Maya Pope was like, they were standing at the gate of the White House or wherever they were. No, they were standing and they were in the house, right? They were in her house or something.
Yeah.
And she goes and she's like, "Livy, baby, you'll never be them. You're the help." And she looked at her like,
yeah,
and then she goes to Cyrus the next day. Right. And she goes to Cyrus the next day at the gate of the White House like, "Are we the help?" Like, come on, yes, you're the help. You're the help.
You are. You are the help. Yes.
Yeah, but I think that's a good way for them to connect in their helpful way, and they can look out for each other because they both are bosses in their own regard. But how great was it that Olivia said, "Yeah, brother, I got you. I'll look out for you. We'll take care of this." And then we get into all of the drama, though, that Cyrus had going down. She told him, "Don't see the boy again. Don't see B School Mike. Don't see Mike the whore again. Stop seeing B School Mike. Don't see him again." And he was like, "Okay." And then Kryptonite knocked on his door. Were you ready for that?
Yes, he did. Oh, LBJ. Listen, I was not. I was not ready for it, number one. But there's a whole nother piece of this I wasn't ready for, LBJ. I wasn't ready for Olivia's assertion that B School might have some feelings for Cyrus, right? Olivia's whole little caption on this was, "Yes, Cyrus, he didn't give all the information to Elizabeth North that he could have. So, for us, that means he cares." So anyway, so I was surprised by that revelation. And then again, you see B School come knocking on the door, LBJ, not ready at all. And how did Cyrus handle it? Well, like a pro. Yeah. He handled it like a pro. He he stayed in character, you know. He tried to get him out of the house. He was like, my daughter is here. It's really too much happening, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
B
His
School
daughter.
Mike was not deterred. You know, he marched on in. I mean, he was well into the second room of the house. He kept going
Yeah,
on in. B School Mike was not going to be turned away. You know, and then B School Mike tries to get it going. You know, he's reaching down, touching body parts. You know, getting things engaged. Cyrus
right.
still trying to stay in character. I now have a stoic face. You know, and then he gives in. He gives in. Okay.
He gives in and he went in. He said,
Oh, he did.
he said, Cyrus said to him, he's like, oh, when they told me that you weren't coming, oh, I just got so worried. This is B School Mike, and I was just so worried. I had to come and check on you. He's like he's looking at this tall guy, and just staring at him. And then
Yeah.
he's talking. He's like, "Oh, I was so worried. You don't know what's going on. We thinking Cyrus is gonna shove him away or whatever. Did you see how Cyrus looked outside? He was like, I don't let this man in my house, and he looked around like anybody watching me. And then Cyrus, when he finally gives in, and he's like, take off your pants and pull down your pants. I was like,
Yeah.
Wait, what did you do? What did you do?
LBJ, he literally, you're right. He looked to the left, he looked to the right, and
Yeah,
he said, well, there's clearly only one way for me to handle this situation, right?
exactly,
And he
exactly.
said, turn around, and you know what, let's get this party started. LBJ, never ready. You know what, I will just say, as much as there are so many love stories in this show, it's like I'm always kind of like, mouth agape when there's a love scene. So
Yes, yes.
you sprinkle a little hatred into a love scene, and I was overwhelmed. I'm going to tell you.
Right, and that hatred was real
Yeah,
because he was very forceful and aggressive.
he was.
Don't say anything. He put his head down on the bed.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, man, yeah. So Cyrus had his day and he had his night with B School. He had his day and his night with B School Mike. Oh gosh.
LBJ, do you know who else had their day and their night today? Oh my gosh, it was Andrew Nichols, right?
Oh
LBJ,
man, did he not?
LBJ.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, wait a second. Let's just really be honest with ourselves here. We have been thinking of Andrew Nichols as a throwaway character, right?
Right.
We've been
Mhm.
thinking, Andrew Nichols, your storyline is finished.
We
You
forgot
were
about him.
brought here as the jump off for Mellie. You jumped off, you jumped back on. We're now not going to talk about you much anymore. Sit over there and look pretty. And do you know what Andrew said tonight, LBJ? On this episode, he said, oh no, I'm not just a pretty face. I will make my presence known. What did you think, LBJ, of that entire Andrew Nichols storyline?
That whole Andrew Nichols bit was something because, again, we random vice president in the scene. I mean, in the
Random.
storyline. We do, right, he's random. We do have to have a vice president because we have a president, and so we have to have a vice president. And
Right.
so we're going through seeing him walking out of this building, and we see the whole explosion take place, and OMG, the vice president's about to get a storyline now because there was just this big terrorist attack while he's walking out of the building. OMG, what's going to happen? And Mr. Vice President sitting up in the office, getting all patched up on his chest and everything, got
Yeah.
his war wound, his big war wound, and that big white patch on his chest. And
Yeah.
Mellie walks in to check on him, and Mellie can't take it. And she took Uncle Andy. She took Uncle Andy in the White House, and she got her life from Uncle Andy.
And LBJ, she said it. She said, when I saw you in that car crash, oh my goodness, I felt like I came back to life. She
Exactly.
said,
Yes.
she said, my body woke up.
Yes.
LBJ,
Yes.
watching Andrew almost lose his life woke her body up, LBJ. And
Yes.
what did she do with that awakened body, LBJ?
Oh my gosh, she took that awakened body and she was like, I'm so alive. I'm so alive. I'm so alive. Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Vice President, I'm so
Yes,
alive.
she did. Yes, she did. LBJ. And let me just say, we have seen Andrew and Mellie really get, quite personal before, right?
Yes.
But I will just say, this scene I will just say hats off to, what's the name of the actress that plays Mellie? I can't remember her name. Hats off to that actress that plays Mellie, because let me tell you, this scene, you saw every bit of her desperation. We
Oh
saw
yeah.
every bit of her reawakening, right? It was so clear, LBJ, that this was
Mm.
something that had been pinned up. Now, I will tell you what was really interesting about this, though, is that Mellie was kind of asking for Andrew's forgiveness in the dialogue just before the love scene. She was kind of, she gave her explanation. A lot happened. You walked away from me. My son passed away. So she gave a little explanation, LBJ, but she also did two things. She apologized and she asked for another chance.
She did.
So I thought that was a little interesting because, again, Andrew is the one who set the terms. He is the one that walked away. So anyway, so it was interesting to me to watch Mellie humble herself in asking, to reignite things with Andrew.
I think it was a clever way. I think it really was a clever way to bring Andy back into the fold of the entire show. Like we
Mm,
haven't seen them for a while, so it wouldn't have made sense for us to see them jumping off immediately, and Uncle Andy taking Mommy Mellie's nectar all over the place. But
right.
you got to see them kind of reunite, and it felt so good, and then it really felt good. So it all made sense, and it all came together. And then, but then we go into Uncle Andy again. We take a ride with him more, and on the stakeout between with Huck and Quinn, the worlds collide when Uncle Andy goes into Lizzie Bear and Lizzie Bear's home,
Yes.
and Lizzie Bear is sitting there with what's his name, Dan Kubiak,
Yeah.
and then all of a
Kubiak.
sudden Uncle Andy walks in, and he's like, "I came to have an affair." Huh? What? What in the world?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really? What
Yeah.
where they do that at? Like seriously?
LBJ, once again, we have been underestimating Andrew. He has
Mm-hmm.
come back with a vengeance. I
Yes.
mean, he is literally saying, oh, you know what? Not only do I have a storyline here, oh, it's a juicy one. It's got a couple of threads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He is literally now somehow, LBJ, wrapped up into this whole plot that's right now been this multiple episode, case where we know a couple things, right? We know that whatever this plot is, Olivia's at the center of it, right? We know that lives have been lost, right?
Yes.
We know
Yes.
that there's a mother in jail, there's a daughter that's been killed, there's another young woman that's been killed, there's a father that's taken his own life, all around this mysterious plot that also included somehow a stack of pictures of Olivia, right?
Mm.
And now
Yes.
throw on top of that, the vice president is somehow a part of this storyline. And who else? Elizabeth North, LBJ, the whole thing. I mean, it was just so many layers in that episode.
So many layers in that episode, but what was crazy is how that whole thing went down once Kubiak. So Quinn, my favorite character, who by the way is rising up like the phoenix this entire season. Quinn, I love you. You're my favorite character on the show. Keep doing what you're doing. And I think that
Hashtag no thank you. Please continue. Hashtag no.
that's what the audience just said to you when you're talking
Okay.
about Quinn
Okay,
tonight.
fine, LBJ. Fine.
They got the crickets. But no, I think that we're watching Quinn and Huck on these stakeouts of these two people, and then we see there's this underlying storyline as well of Huck and Javi going on the stakeout as well.
Wow.
Quinn is by herself, and then we've got Huck and Javi over at Pope and Associates, and then in the food truck outside on the street, and he sends Javi to go get the ice cream. Javi walks back and he sees his dad take Kubiak out, and he's like, "OMG, Daddy! Like, what's going on?" Javi's potentially scarred for life now because Daddy's been gone all this time. Daddy's back, and now Daddy's a killer. Oh my gosh! And then not only is Daddy a killer, but Daddy is watching the vice president. I don't know if it's the vice president, but the vice president is doing something with this woman in there. There's a lot going on with these storylines, and I think that
LBJ, yes.
seriously, and I think that it's so good that we've got this multi-channel thing going back on again, because that's what we love about Scandal. We love the scandal, but we also love the marrying of the storylines in the midst of all that we have going on. What were your thoughts and feelings about about Huck, Janai. I know you love the Huck storyline.
Well, LBJ, everyone loves the Huck storyline. No one loves the Quinn storylines. But anyway, yes, I really, I have to tell you, Huck once again, you know, I love you, and I am so happy that you are finding a way to have a relationship with your son. But, I don't know if a stakeout in general is the right. I know, and Huck, you haven't had a chance to read the parenting books, right? You're just now getting back in the loop. But I just think somewhere on an instinct level, you don't take your child with you to a stakeout. So this is like hashtag fail for Huck. What was your son doing there to begin with? And LBJ, and I do just have to say, I worry that Huck is going to ruin his relationship with his wife by having this sneaky relationship with the son. And so the question is, do the ends justify the means at this point? I mean, he literally could be standing in his own way in terms of a long-term relationship with his son and a long-term relationship with the wife. So I had mixed feelings about Huck's approach in this episode. But it was just crazy. I sit there, I put myself in the son's, head for a minute. I mean, you've just reconnected with your father. The stories that you've heard about your father, at least in recent years, made him some sort of spy of some sort. You're now interfacing with him, and you're likening his job to that of a police officer. LBJ, for children police officers, they're heroes. They're protecting people. Mm-hmm. And then the son, he walks over there innocently with his little ice cream cone, LBJ, and he literally watches his father kill someone. Anyway, so I'm worried about how we repair these relationships.
I think that the future will lend itself to be favorable for them, just because they connected. Like Huck has his DNA in his son, or his son has his daddy's DNA, and they've made a connection online, and they made the connection to meet up. And his daddy still owes him some explanations about some things,
mm-hmm.
and his son answers. So I think the future will be profitable for the two of them, as they continue this quest on building a father and son relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're talking about fathers, Anaya, can we go there? Like, can we really, really just go there? Can we do that?
LBJ, we're gonna have to. Now, there's one little point we forgot to make, and it was the second Scandal Jam session. I just want to make sure we didn't miss that.
Yes, the second Scandal Jam session. Got me working. Michael Jackson got me working.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yes.
Just want to make sure we didn't miss that, But yes, LBJ, let us talk about now the father. I forgot I wasn't ready. Yeah.
It came before we could even say it. And it came before.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it, LBJ. Let's talk about Rowan Pope.
Can I just say, Janaya, that is funny to me.
I'm scared of him. Look, where is he?
Janaya's hiding at the bottom of the screen. Janaya's hiding. Pick her up. Janaya's hiding. But look, can we just say, where do I start? I love this. I think over Quinn, I think I would rank the characters Rowan Pope #1 for me, and Quinn Robbie Lindsay. Quinn Robin Lindsay. Let me get it out. Top two characters. The way Rowan Pope came in and laid everything down this episode was a freaking amazing. From the time that he invited Olivia to dinner, to the time that Olivia called back and had the decoy call and was crying, and Daddy accepted the 7:30 dinner reservation. The fact that the Rowan Pope just rattled off that wine, I couldn't even remember what the wine was. I was going to try to remember it for this scandal recap because he
Yeah.
was just like, I had this wine. I was like, oh, what
Yeah.
is that? I almost wanted to look it up and make sure I had some
Yeah. Yeah.
wine as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just
Yeah.
sounded so easy. I mean, Janaya, Rowan
Yeah.
Pope is the man among men. I mean, this man, he offered her dinner. Then there was the fake out, and then we build up to the title of the episode, The Last Supper. Hit us with your thoughts.
LBJ. Well, first of all, we have watched Rowan go into his delusional state on many an occasion, right? He goes into this place where he really wants Olivia to act like he works at the Smithsonian, and then they go to dinner on Sunday, and then everything is fine, and they have a super normal relationship. So, LBJ, that's how his entrance to this episode starts. He's calling up Olivia to call her to task. Daughter, you missed dinner. What's up with that? I mean, how dare you? You know. And Olivia's like, wait, reality check. You know, the jig is up. You know, are we even talking to each other? You're like literally trying to kill everyone that's important to me. You know, so that you know, I'm through with this denial state. And then Rowan, he says, oh, you're going to check me about reality? Let me check you about reality. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? These men in your life, and LBJ, you know, he was doing his monologue, so he was talking
Oh,
so
so good.
quickly. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get all the notes. But he basically said, you know what? You may love these boys, and he called them boys. Yeah, he
Yes.
did. He said, you may love these boys, but I will be here for you long after those boys move on to other spoils. You know, he just talked about, he said, you know what, listen, Olivia, your allegiance should be to me as your father over all else. And Olivia sitting there in that conversation, LBJ. I mean, what do you think she was thinking in that moment?
She didn't know where he was going in that moment, Janaya, because think about it. Let's go back
Mm-hmm.
to when Olivia, let's go back to when he invited her to the dinner. He invited her to the dinner, and she's like, no, I'm not going to do the dinner with you. He's like, okay, fine, I'll respect that.
Yes.
He's not going to do the dinner. Then let's go to him getting the call, and she's like, Dad, Dad. Oh, no, and she's like, hello. He's like, Olivia. Like he knew immediately. Of course, there's the
Yes.
caller ID on their phone, but he's like Olivia, like daddy mode, instant daddy mode, connecting to his daughter. Why?
Yes.
He knows his daughter when you have a relationship with her, and so he's going on, and she's going on about daddy this, daddy that, and I realized this, and I realized that. He's like, baby, Olivia, it's not your fault. It's
Mm-hmm.
my fault. He
Woo!
started taking ownership. It's my fault. I should have done this. I should have done that for you. I should have been there. You're the way you are because I'm the way I am, and I caused you. I put this evil. I put this hurt. I put this lifestyle. I forced you into this lifestyle, Olivia. I'm sorry for doing this. That's
Yes.
what Rowan Pope said to Olivia in all that moment. So when we get to the Last Supper, when it's all supposed to be going down,
Mm-hmm.
she's like, okay, I've got him. She hung up the phone 7:30, and so 7:30 it's all going down at
Yes.
the dinner table. So we're all in place. Olivia's mic'd up. They're watching them. They're watching. They're watching the whole thing go down in the situation room. They're listening to the feed, watching it on the closed circuit television, figuring out what's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Then Rowan Pope slips her a Mickey in the conversation, in the monologue, and
Yes, he did.
know, I do this because of you, and I did this because of you. I protected you. I loved you. I looked out for you. I set this up for you. I held them back from you. I did all of this for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? That's because I did that all for you, Olivia. And here's where the Mickey came in the conversation. Because
Mm-hmm.
you were everything.
Woo!
He said you were everything. She is not currently everything. He said she was. He said
Past tense.
yes, you were everything. You
Yes.
were everything. That's what he said to Olivia. And
He
then
did.
he says, that's what you were. That's what you were. You were everything. Those people are,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says, those men outside are dying because
Woo!
of you. And then he starts doing all this because of you stuff. And I was just like, oh, shoot, I'm going to call this the because of you monologue.
Yeah.
He was going ham on Olivia with this monologue. He told her, he said, you have forsaken me. You have forsaken me.
Now,
You're
and
humble.
LBJ, we have to talk about that line. Did anyone else catch that as almost like a biblical reference? right?
Oh,
Like
totally.
it's like once again, him once again, claiming his place, on top of the throne. You have forsaken me, Olivia.
Hmm.
And you know what? I love the theme that Rena75 pulled out in the chat. She talks about the fact that, hey, you know what? Rowan has a bit of a sick obsession with Olivia. He kills, hurts every man that she has ever cared about. Edison, Harrison, Fitz, Jake. It's almost like he doesn't want any man to get too close to her. Kind of weird. And you know what, LBJ? It's so true. He is obsessed. And it's so much denial. When he was there telling Olivia that, she had forsaken, him, the Messiah. He said, I was trying to be a good father. He said, I didn't have a role model, but
Yes.
I always put, you before my job. LBJ, he was just in denial in this moment, really trying to act like he has been doing the right thing for Olivia. And so anyway, it was just so crazy to watch his delusion mixed with, as Rena75 put it, his obsession.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's necessarily his delusion tonight because he hit her with the traditional parenting. I'm sorry. Like how many times have some of us heard from some of our parents? I wasn't given a rule book for this. I wasn't given a manual for this thing. I don't know. We see it when we see the talking heads reviewing
Yeah.
parenting skills on television shows. We see it so many different times. And you're right. No, you're not given a manual for parenting. And that's what Rowan Pope said. But that was just his highbrow way of saying it. I didn't have a role model. I didn't have this. But he hit there with the "you have forsaken me," and not just me, but he said, "Me, your father, me," and then he said, "Your family." That means your mama. That means your terrorist mama. You forsooketh you
Yeah.
forsooketh your mother, Olivia. That's what
Yeah.
Rowan Pope said.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
he kept going on and on tonight. He said, "You wanted to stand in sun. You wanted to stand in the
Mhm.
sun in a bright white light. It blinded you. Those people
Mhm.
that you've chosen over me, you do not see them for who they are. You will never be them." There's that reality check again. You will
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
be them. You will
And
never be them. Those
LBJ, do
folks.
you know what else he did in that moment? By stating back to Olivia that phrase about standing in the sun, he basically said, I've been listening to you.
Thank
I've
you.
been
Yes,
listening to your
yes,
phone calls.
absolutely. Yes.
Your home is bugged. I know every single move that you have made because you better believe Olivia has never once in her father's presence made a statement to Jake about standing in
You
the
are
sun.
right. You are right.
Okay?
I said
So
the same
and
thing.
so he basically said, listen, you forgot who you're dealing with here. And LBJ, it was so crazy the way they cut that scene.
Hmm.
As we're sitting there watching Ruin, again,
Mm,
Olivia,
mm.
you have forsaken me. We're watching all of the plans that Olivia and team made just fall away, right?
Absolutely.
We watch the boxes that David Rosen and Jake had. We watched, the people at the Pentagon open the boxes. No information. No
How
files.
awesome is
No
that?
big
Oh my
fish searching
God.
files.
Yes.
We watch as all the SWAT team that's circling this space for the big Roman setup. We watch as they're killed, LBJ, one
Nice.
by
Nice.
one by
Yes.
one. And again, we're sitting there in that moment as Rowan is saying to Olivia, essentially, goodbye. And LBJ, there was a line. He said, if you think the world is terrible with
Come
me in
on.
it,
Come on.
wait until you see what it is without me.
Church.
LBJ,
That was church.
listen, listen, LBJ. He really, truly, that was what we call a come to Jesus moment.
Oh,
He
come
said,
on.
you know what? The reality is there's something happening here that Olivia, you don't seem to be picking up. And what is that? It's that I am everywhere. I see all, and guess what? I'm not anymore prioritizing you. Crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was wonderful.
Hmm.
You took the next words out of my mouth. That one line about "wait till you see it without me." He said, "Olivia, I am leaving. I am leaving." This is
Yes.
he was done. Finito,
Yes.
kaput. And then he left her at the dinner table and got in his little black car and drove off as if nothing ever happened.
Yes, and
Oh,
LBJ, I love the way Dan Blake Moore put it. He said, All I have to say about Rowan Pope is hashtag the snipers got sniped. Hashtag not supposed to happen. LBJ, the snipers got sniped.
The
You
snipers got
know,
sniped.
they
But
did.
listen, but how? But this is crazy. So this also showed us that there is more. We thought B613 was disassembled. We thought that they disengaged all of B613. All this money is gone. They've got all the files. B613 is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be no more. Who told you that B613 still existed, Janaya?
LBJ, it was you once again, LBJ. Shonda Rhimes whispering in your ear
I'm
once
telling you.
again, LBJ. You rarely lead us wrong.
Seriously, now, and I'm just not saying that for the credit. I'm just saying it because I feel when the spirit of Shondaland comes upon me, I have to
Mm-hmm.
give the utterance of what I hear and what
Yes,
I feel. And
yes.
I felt that we have not seen the end of B613. Rowan Pope cannot exist without power, without
Mm-hmm.
control. And that's what we saw in the sense that when we saw when those snipers were being sniped. Now, what's to come? We don't know, but we know that there is something that potentially could come of this, and I think that we have an opportunity to dive into the B613, or maybe this is B17 that we're dealing with now. It's not B613, it's
Right.
B617 right
You're
now.
right. Yeah, yeah. And you know what, LBJ? I have to just say, one person that has not really been looped in to the whole B613 saga is Mellie, right?
Hmm.
Somehow, every other main character has made their way into that series of conversations. And thank you so much, Dan Blakemore. The actress that plays Mellie is Bellamy Young. Thank you for that. Could not think of her name. I love Bellamy Young, by the way. She's so good. But
Yes.
the
Oh,
thing
by the way, Bellamy has watched our live chats before too. So hi, Bellamy. If you're watching, hey, Bellamy. This
oh
is
my
not all
gosh.
excited. Yes, Bellamy has watched our live chats before.
Oh gosh, this is just so exciting, LBJ, because I love her. She's so good. But I will say her character has not at all been included in kind of like all of the B613 drama. But now her association with Andrew, right, brings her into, to me, so much of that kind of external drama that she has been kind of insulated from. And so,
Hmm.
anyway, I'm just waiting to see how this storyline with Andrew and Olivia, right? Again, Olivia at the center somehow. We still don't understand, right?
Yes.
Of this plot that Andrew's playing out, how that is going to intertwine with Olivia's drama related to her father.
Hmm.
So it's just going to be so interesting. Is Mellie now swept up into the B613 drama or the B617s?
B617. B617.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh, do you have any takeaways from this episode as we begin to round things out?
Yeah, you know what, LBJ? There were so many. I mean, I feel like Shonda, for this episode, she dropped so many nuggets. But I will tell you, the one thing that resonated with me, and I think it was a really important point, it was Jake when he had that moment with Olivia, where he said, you know what? You could have left me in here.
Mm.
It was in that moment when he was sitting there. Basically, he was in a spirit of gratitude, LBJ. He said to Olivia, listen, I know that I'm not your end game. I realize that you're just passing through. He said, you could have left me in here in this jail to rot, and you could have, you could have run off with Fitz. And I
Mm.
think what he actually said was, you and Fitz could have danced off into the sun. And so I just really appreciated that moment, LBJ. I felt like he had so much gratitude. And I have to say, it made me kind of think for a second, do I miss opportunities to just say thank you?
Mm.
And so I will say, when at my organization and in my businesses, you know, there are a lot of people that I partner with on a daily basis, just to get work done, to get things done. And I am always very careful to say thank you, LBJ, but I'm going to pay special attention. Is there a moment to say thank you that I've missed? Possibly. But I just think it's important for us to show appreciation. And especially right now, it's Thanksgiving. Anyway, but LBJ,
How apropos.
exactly. So anyway, that's my takeaway, LBJ. It's just let's not miss an opportunity to say thank you to a friend, a loved one, a colleague. If someone has contributed to you in a way that they really didn't need to, they went above and beyond. Let's say thank you.
That was such a great PSA, Janaya. I mean, that was a great PSA. I think you should repeat that last sentence. But you have to lead into the sentence with this.
Sure.
This holiday season, let's not forget to
Right.
say, try it like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. This holiday season, let's not overlook, one of the many lessons that we learned from the show Scandal. And that's to say thank you to your loved ones before you get killed. Was that good, OBJ? Because that's really what he's doing. Because Jake, listen, I love you, Jake. I love you, but you're still on your way out. I don't know. So we'll see.
That was good. That was good.
We
So
have any
good.
takeaways, OBJ?
I do. My takeaway isn't as sentimental and isn't as apropos for the holiday season, but it's one of those lessons I like to take away when we look at failure. And Olivia failed, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier in the chat. I mentioned that Olivia is planting seeds of nectar for a bountiful harvest, and she's all over the place. And Olivia, this episode was literally all over the place. And what happened? It blew up in her face. Your parents know a lot about you. Why? Because some of them is inside of you. I know my mom and my dad know some of my ways because there's some of the ways I have, they gave them to me because they were the ways that they grew up with. And some of them still have the ways. And Rowan Pope is that same kind of parent. Rowan Pope's dark side, Rowan Pope's way of strategizing, Rowan Pope's way of thinking was passed on to his daughter Olivia. That's why Rowan is always 13 steps ahead of her when she thinks
Wow.
she's ahead of where she's currently working. Olivia, it will not work. Be on the team of your father. Blood is thicker than water. That's your daddy's been trying to tell you. No matter where you try to go, no matter what you try to do, you can live your own life, daughter. You can be your own woman, daughter. You don't have to be like your mother, daughter. I will look out for you. I will protect you. You can have your own brand. You can do what you want to do, daughter. But just know I am always looking out for you because I am your father. If you forget this, then you will be in trouble. And today we saw what happens if you spread yourself too thin and the hand of little G God is removed from your life. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. Do not strategize, or do not over strategize or under strategize and set yourself up for a failure. Failure may not be an option for you, but failure will be your outcome. Failure will be your destiny. Failure will be your fate if you are not careful to plan every single thing out as it relates to troubleshooting and problem solving issues, whether it's on the fly or it takes some careful execution. Don't be scared to make quick decisions, ladies and gentlemen. Take time and think things through because you want to be successful in the end. Don't end up like having the hand of little G God, Rowan Pope, removed from your life if you decide to cross him. That's my message for you tonight.
Oh, LBJ, you just gave us a little something right there. You gave us a nugget. You gave us a nugget, LBJ. Because how many little things are walking around here playing little G God, interface in our lives, and are we planning? So, LBJ, you gave us something there. I thank you for that.
Well, I thank you, and I thank you. I have to thank you, like you said in your takeaway. I thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying thank you. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome for saying thank you. I always say thank you. Thank you for thanking me for saying thank you.
Hashtag sleepy. I mean, this is crazy.
Thank you all for watching this Scandal recap. We've had so much fun. We've got two celebrity rock stars that have been hanging out with us tonight in the Q&A. Dan Blakemore and Arena75. We should round robin them out, Janiyah, with the comments here.
We have to.
Oh, look at this. Dan starts with Janiyah. The audience supports your disrespect for Quinn. Don't let LBJ play you to the left.
Thank you. Dan, once again, you and I, eye to eye. Quinn, literally, hashtag storyline finished. Let's continue. And Dan Blake were also, he was, I think, commenting on, that
The
love
side,
scene with
yes.
Cyrus. And Dan Blakemore said the audience was not, capital Not, not ready for it. And he said, I wish you could have seen Twitter live for that one, LBJ. It
Let me tell
was
you.
bananas.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what Twitter was saying, let alone Black Twitter. I am so mad. I missed everything that was going down on Twitter tonight. I probably should go back and watch it. I was on, let's see, that was the Thursday that we checked in for the vacation. So that night, I think I was like, we were probably at dinner or something while everything was
Yeah.
going on. But Dan comes back in the Q&A, and he's referring to the doors of the Scandal recap are open. He says, to paraphrase the Richardson from Howard University, put your hand in the hand of God.
Yeah,
Yes, Dan,
yeah.
thank you.
He said,
Doors are open.
he said
Church. That Rowan
the
Pope
church
line
of
was
scandal recap. Yeah, yeah,
the church of scandal recap.
yeah.
I'm telling you, that Rowan Pope line was everything. When he told her, you want to see what the world is like without, that was everything. That was church.
Yes. And you know what? Dan Blakemore is actually taking us to church again. He said, as much as I revile Daddy Pope, do we want to know more about his lack of paternal role model? Can Olivia's daddy issues be second generation issues? Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, there's so little that we know. I mean, I feel like Rowan nods to his childhood, but we don't know the full scoop. Interesting.
We don't. But Dan
Mm-hmm.
also loved your pencil, Janaya, and he goes, yes, hashtag Netflix. And you were like,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
even do it. Don't even do it. There it is. Do it again.
Yeah, this is it right here. And that's for Cyrus. That's for Cyrus and his hypocrisy.
Yes.
And Rena 75, she really concurred with me. She said, does anyone in their right mind really think Huck should be parenting a child? A human child? For real? For real? It's so true. I think Huck should parent like, a cyborg. I think he would do a great job of parenting a cyborg. He would be super awesome at that.
I think Huck is really trying to turn his life around. Like, Huck has been through a lot. I mean, we've seen Huck go from, a happy-go-lucky guy to 752, 752, 752, 752, can't bring me cheeseburger, can't bring me cheeseburger, 752, 752, 752,
Yeah.
to, like, I'm going to pull your teeth out, 752, 752, let me lick your face, lick your face, 752, 752, like, he
Yeah.
goes in and out of all this different stuff. Like, this man has been through it. So we really need to
Yeah.
give him an opportunity to really have some normalcy in his life. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that Hobby is bringing normalcy to his life. And hopefully the wife will, or the ex-wife, whatever she is, will do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And time will tell. Time will tell, LBJ. And that same spookiness that has Huck now literally, just with a couple of screws loose. Rena 75 is making a reference about our reaction to Daddy Pope. She said, could y'all's eyes get any bigger? LMAO. I mean, he's frightening. He's frightening. He is.
He is very, very frightening. Rita 75, we have fun with you in the chat. We'll round out with you in this comment. Did y'all hear what Papa Pope said? And we quoted this one tonight. You wanted to stand in the bright white light, and she capitalizes white. Those are not your people. You will never be one of them. Rita 75 says, child. I was like, Shonda went there. And
Yeah.
yeah, she did. There was a little undertone. There was a
And
little
LBJ,
undertone that was
it
there.
was now Olivia has heard it from both her parents.
Yes.
She is the help, and she
Mhm.
needs to recognize it.
And
Woo!
it's good. That's so good because if you think about parents
Mhm.
from that time who were born in those baby boomers, they know, they understand. They are the ones who they're very sensitive about that.
Yes.
They're very because their parents most likely shared stories with them of sharecropping or some kind of story from a few generations before them of slavery, and they understand what it's like to be in a subservient role, if you will, in a
Mhm.
leadership role in their careers. And that
Mhm.
means a lot to them. Those parents, I mean, I've got it in my family. I understand what that's like. So that's such great writing and such a great cultural connection I think that the writing team added into
Yeah.
the script with that. I picked it up, Rena.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh
totally
my
picked it up.
gosh. What a
This
great
is
round robin. Thank you to
woo,
our, scandal recap gladiators logging in, for tonight's
absolutely.
chat. So great.
Oh, I always say thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Janaya. Thank you for thanking me in advance for thanking me.
Thank you, LBJ, and thank you everybody for watching. We just love this is so much fun, and we love engaging. If you watch this recap after live airing, please leave us your comments on YouTube. We love to get them. We read them later. We incorporate them into the show. So we look forward to your feedback.
Yes, indeed. We look forward to your feedback and look forward to the invitation to chat about season 4, episode 9 of Scandal, the
Mm-hmm.
winter finale. I hear it's
Woo!
juicy, baby. We'll have a
Yes.
little rewatch. You can go back and check it out. Until then, that's Janaya and I'm Larry. We will see you guys next time. Happy early holidays. We love you guys.
Bye.